This is an 18 WJTS special presentation. World War II was a defining chapter in global history, a conflict that reshaped nations and touched millions of lives, and its echoes still resonate today. We are honored to speak with Indiana's oldest living World War II veteran. 100-year-old Loren Brown carries the memories of a generation that answered the call of duty. Join us as we hear firsthand from one of the few remaining voices of that pivotal era on 18 WJTS.
Thank you for joining us. We're going to be talking with Loren Brown, the oldest living World War II vet in Indiana. Loren Brown, welcome to the show. It's good to talk to you. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Where did you start? Where were you born? And a little bit of your history.
Well, born at Doodle Mills, December 19th, 24, and went to school, a one-room school, old troop school, 8 grades and 1 teacher. And from there, I went to Old Laureltown High School, 2 winters. And from there, you went in the Army.
Right from there, you went in the Army. How old were you when you went in the Army?
18.
18. You're now 100 years old. You have a little story to tell us about joining the Army because you really had a deferment at first.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Well, I got a deferment for the duration. And I thought I didn't want to go to service. And after seeing the paratroopers jump out down there at Evansville, and so that put me going, but I wanted to get in the paratroopers. So I told them I quit, went back home, went to Tell City, canceled my deferment, and about 30 days, you got a letter. It said, greetings. So I had to go be examined. Age 45, 47 of us. In Perry County, I went to Evansville. 45 passed. And so we went back home for 3 weeks. Back down to Evansville. And from Evansville, Fort Benjamin Harris. And from there, we stayed there about 3 or 4 days. From there, the 45 went different places. And I was on that one from Indiana, went to Camp Varn, Mississippi, 63rd Infantry Division, old General Patton Division. Well, just stayed there for about 3 months, and the old whistle blowed and said, we had to line up. He said, part of it is going to the Pacific for POR, for replacement. Okay. So California we went. Got out there at Fort Ord, stayed there about 2 or 3 weeks, and went up to Fort Mason in San Francisco. Then stayed there, and we went a boat over what they call Angel Island, has right next to Alcatraz. Mm-hmm. Stayed there about 3 weeks, and old whistle blowed again. Line up. We lined up, we went loaded on the old ship, and away we went. Out the Pacific. Took us 21 days to get to New Guinea. And we had several calls missing. I was sitting up on the bow of the boat, and here I looked down, and there was a big old torpedo right in front of us. And about that time, hear this. Come over to see everybody is not in their they had names for each place you stayed in there. Go back and shut your door and lock yourself in. And so that was the end of the old torpedoes. And it took us 21 days to get over there. And by the time we got to the New Guinea was. From there on, stayed there for about a month or two. From there on to Mordecai. And that was stepping off stones to the Philippines. We stayed there a while, headed for the Philippines. We was making landing. Here come, just the sun is coming up. And here come 15 jet planes dropping their bombs and come back and straight. Machine gun. And no one got hurt or the bomb missed the ships we was on, missed next to us. So we stayed on the beach there for 4 or 5 days, and we didn't have no water or anything. We dug holes in the sand and drunk salt water, and that was terrible. Then we got the CBs got in front, opened the roads up and stuff. Up through Mindanao we went. 9 months. I had that old telephone home for 9 months. And we got to the north end, and another division come in, 96th Division. It took the 2 divisions to make one. So I was in the 96th and 33rd Infantry Division. And we started taking a little advanced training. And they said, we got different types of fuse for our artillery. It was way better than what we did have. And so we 4 other divisions was scheduled. In 3 weeks, we was going to Tokyo Bay. And so we was out there one evening late, and all of a sudden, a hoop and a holler and went on. That's the officers' quarters. They had tents lined up. The officers had to be there themselves. Mm-hmm. So the war is over.
So that was the end of it then.
And so I said, we issued a case of beer a month when we got up there. And most of them, 3 bottles all they give you at the time. They didn't want nobody topsy. And so give everybody their case of beer. So we all lined up, went up to the supply room, got our beer, and I think I drunk 1 bottle or 2, and I had a lot of headaches the next morning. So that was it about. We had 5 guerrillas, Filipinos, that was their army, guerrillas. And all they had was a bolo knife. Mm-hmm. You ever heard of a bolo knife?
Describe it. What is a bolo knife?
Well, I'd say about 16 inches long, maybe 18, and had a handle on it, a blade. And they'd keep that thing as sharp as they could be. But one place we was going up through Mindanao, and Jeff split us up. The infantry was in front, and we was behind. Mm-hmm. And the Japs come in and split us up. They've done that several times. But this one Jap had a machine gun back in the pillbox. And he'd fire a few rounds, quit, fire a few rounds, quit. And throwed hand grenades in there, and a bazooka fired in there, and they couldn't get him out. And they kept on shooting. So, one of the guerrillas, they called me Joe. Joe this, Joe that. He said, I see him where he's at. Going up the around there he went, around up the tree he went. And here come the Jap down out of that tree with no head on him. That whoever took that motor, like, you know, and he had wires from that tree out there like a remote control. You could throw it, and he had different ways, 100 rounds of ammunition in there, and he'd pull a lever, put a new roll of shells in his machine gun.
So that's back. There was remote control back in World War II.
Well, that was just
A wire.
he could rotate it, but it's just a certain angle.
So he kind of fooled everybody because you thought he was in the pillbox, but he was in the tree.
Yeah, out there about 20 or 30 yards.
Wow. Now, when you went into the Army, when you were back, before you even signed up, you could have gone Navy.
Yeah.
Why did you go Army and not Navy? Well, tell me the story of why you're not a paratrooper, but you were in artillery.
I don't know. I just didn't want to be in the Navy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd rather be in the Army because my uncle was in the Army, my brother was in the Army, my great-grandpa was in the Civil War, and all in the Army. And I wanted to follow suit.
Why were you, though, artillery and not a paratrooper?
That was their choice. They put me where they wanted me.
You were too tall, weren't you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
5'10".
That's too tall?
That was the limit.
Wow.
And 140 pounds. And I went over. I was 6 foot.
So what was your job in the artillery? What did you do in the artillery? You had a phone.
Yeah.
Were you with the artillery or were you up front? Or did somebody up front call you?
They called back to the relay station from the radio.
Okay.
And the radio, that relay station would call me. But most of the time I could hear them because that relay station was set off to the outside. And I could hear them what to call. Fire command. You'd have to call the elevation and deflection for the gun, and what kind of shell, and how many charges were in the shell, and what kind of fuse. You had fuses delayed, or fuse quick, or you had 3 or 4 different kind of fuse.
And was there 3 batteries? Explain how the artillery worked. Was it A battery, B battery, C battery? How did that work?
Well, each one of them had a call for commands from each battery, and I was in C battery, and I called for that. But in New Guinea there, I was calling for commands all night long for the 12 artillery guns.
Okay, and you had the close call with the torpedo that almost hit the boat.
Yeah.
Did you have other close calls?
Well, yeah.
A lot?
Enough to make hair stand on your head.
I'll bet. Does that come back and haunt you? Do you think about that nowadays?
No.
No. What's done is done.
Yeah. A lot of things that happen you don't talk about.
No. You're. Go on.
Well, there in New Guinea that night we had hard all night. The Japs, a lot of them got through. And my buddy was standing, he was just like a hod carrier, packing shells for each gun. Back and forth. I looked around, Jap come in, grabbed him. Next morning, come daylight, you could tell which one was which. And bought a close laws that way.
Yeah. Probably saw a lot of death, I'd imagine.
Yeah. And then the Japs would somehow get, we had fatigues we wore, I guess. We had 2 for shirts, we had 2 that and 2 pair of breeches, all we had all the time over there. And them Japs would get them fatigues and come in and some of them could talk English. One come in and there he come up to bed and 4 or 5 of us standing there. He said, light. I said, what? Light. Someone said, he wants a light for a cigarette. And I said, uh-oh, you're a Jap. And he took off and run, and they captured him. And next day they had him up. He wouldn't talk for a long time. After I started talking, he went to college in California.
Do you keep in touch with your old comrades that you were in the service with?
I had a big book of everything that happened, where it was at, how many of us go through, and it disappeared.
Ooh.
And I lost contact with all of them.
Now, you're from Perry County.
Yeah.
Little farm community, Doolittle Mills.
Yeah.
What was it like to be put all of a sudden into San Francisco, a big city, and then on a ship for 21 days? You probably have never been on a ship.
No.
Yeah. What was that like for you?
Well, I didn't mind it a bit. I enjoyed it, but a lot of them got seasick. And once in a while, they'd call down and say, "Us need a volunteer going downstairs." They call it down. We go down so many decks. I think about 7 or 8 or 10 decks that ship was, and we go down there, and they had a freezer down there, everything in there. We go down every day almost. I go down, bring some stuff up. Sit down there for about an hour or 2 and eat ice cream and stuff. I enjoyed that trip, but it was scary. Every once in a while, big old, they had bombs. Japanese and German did both. That was a German torpedo one day. And we had to change courses every so many minutes. The old ship would pop and crack, and when they'd change the course, had to, so the Japs and Germans couldn't, they had so long you had to be in a place to fire them. They might be 10, 12 miles away or farther. But a lot of them old torpedoes and stuff were out in the ocean floating. Ship hit it, but it knocked a big hole in it. And machine guns on the ship would a lot of times be firing away and knock one of them old floating bombs out of there.
Now, you were in New Guinea.
Yeah.
And you were in the Philippines.
No, Morotai.
Morotai.
Dutch East Indies.
Okay. And then, were you in Japan?
Huh?
You were in Japan, because you went in the Bay of Tokyo. Were you ever in Japan?
No.
Okay. No.
We didn't get to go there. We were scheduled to go in 3 weeks.
Okay.
Tokyo Bay.
Where did you get the beer? When did you drink your beer?
Well,
At Morotai?
No, they bring it in on the ships, and then you go down there. And we each division had a service battalion, they call it. They kept up the supplies and things, the artillery shells and everything. Yeah, it was another branch of the service in supply.
Well, they had to feed you. How did you get food, and how good was the food?
It was bad. Like I said, we had shea rations. And, I had a blowtorch. I got some way a blowtorch, and I kept it on the service truck, and I'd heat water in my. We had a Mexican and a cup and a thermos bottle, and I'd heat the water in that canteen thing there, cup, and I know the cook was there in the service battalion. I got a jar of coffee. I made coffee in that cup, he bought it with a blowtorch.
So when the war was over, how long did you stay in the service?
Well, that was in August, and I got home in February of 46.
And how old were you then when you were out of the Army?
22.
22.
Yeah.
Okay, so you would have been 18 to 4 years in the
Yeah.
service. Okay. Were you glad to be done with the Army?
Yeah, sure it was.
What did you go home to? What did you do when you came home?
Well, so said for a year I signed up for 5220. We got $20 a week for 52 weeks.
Okay.
And I always said that 1 year we got that, we all got back, we sewed the ropes.
So from 22 till like 23, 24? Then did you get married, have kids? Did you
I got
move
married
back to
in
Perry County?
January of 47.
Okay. 2 years after the war.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and then your family?
Huh?
Tell me about your kids, your family.
Well, 5 boys and 1 girl. Just was born in 40. Let's see, yeah, in 47. David was born in 49. And Rita was born in 50. And Mike was born in 52. And Larry Gary, 54.
Do they all live still around Perry County?
One, Vince the oldest, passed away about 3 or 4 months ago.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
But what was your occupation? What job did you do when you came out of the Army? What have you been doing for the past 50, 60 years?
Farmed.
Farmed?
Yeah. I had a place there. Well, from Eulers in 47, we sold a place there, and then I bought a place in St. Croix in Crawford County, just in Crawford County. And the farm there, and I had a farm rented over. I had a sister over Caswell. I done that and raised hogs and cattle for milk cows. And we milked 8 cows and sold cream. You couldn't sell milk then.
Okay.
It was all cream. Done pretty good.
So you're just an old farmer from from Perry County.
Yeah.
Would you ever want to go back into the Army? Is that something you ever wanted to do, or when you were done, you were glad you're done?
Yeah. That's what now?
When you were done with the Army, were you glad you were done, or would you like to have stayed in?
Well, I should have stayed in. Because I already had 4 years to start with. And I decided I wouldn't. But going in, I didn't tell you all about going in the Philippines.
Let's go talk about the Philippines.
We went in, we was going in and making a landing. We went to the wrong beach to start with. They took us in the wrong beach. And we were supposed to go in when the tide was up. We went in when the tide was down. And that messed everything up. The ships had anchor way out in the ocean. And that first morning, we was making drop an anchor. Here come 15 planes, jet planes, dropping their eggs and scraping. And then on, it had a lot of air raids. And I seen over the land, island had 90 millimeter anti-aircraft guns. And I've seen 2 make a direct hit. They'd be way up in the sky. But I've seen 2 make a direct hit, and Hardtown Helmet was crippled and crashed running out in the ocean or somewhere. Then from then on, for 78 nights in a row, at 2 o'clock, had air raid. Sometimes it was 15 at night, and sometimes half a dozen. Then he got down over the last month and a half or so, it just 1. Every night, 2 o'clock.
Really? Did that wear on your nerves?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then the Japs would come in at night, and they it didn't seem like they were very far out, but they'd come in and scream all night long, like a woman's scream. That's what it sounded like. Boy, that got on your nerves. It screamed all night long.
So you were really close to the enemy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh yeah.
probably could see them.
So, yeah, a lot of times they dart in and a lot of snipers. They just dart out and shoot a few times, and back in the jungle they'd go.
Excuse me. The island that you were on, you were trying to get to destroy a different island that had airstrips on it.
And
Airstrips.
they're north high. 5 days time they landing planes in there. A lot of them come in crippled, and some of them had to crash landing, belly land they call it. And they go over, push them off the side. Probably I'd say when we left there, there was maybe 400 or 500 planes pushed off the side of the United States plane. One was an old fellow named Mac Mercury. We had to tell your captain or whoever was in charge of it, had to tell them before we didn't go down to the airport. We went down there and went in a old B-29. It was crash landing. Oh, that thing was big.
Yeah.
And I've seen one plane they said couldn't, B-24 come in, 4-motor job. I've seen a pilot bring one in on one motor on the other edge. He brought her in and landed her. They said it couldn't be done, but he did.
Have you ever flown in a plane? Were you?
Oh yeah.
Was that part of your job?
No, not that.
Just other times.
Yeah.
You did do the honor flight.
Yeah.
When? Like a couple of years ago?
October, yeah.
Okay. What was that? What did that mean to you? Tell me about the honor flight.
Oh, that was a great trip. Arlington Cemetery, I always heard about that. And that was the main thing. He was a busload of us. He was wrong. We went and got up there. And, well, we was in the bus up there, telling us what building it was and about the Arlington Cemetery. And we drove wrong ways. All them crosses was in line. You look down that way, there's mine. That way is mine. This way is mine. And we went up there and stopped. We all got off and started around there. And there was a man and woman standing there. I said, I wanted to ask you a question. They said, what's that? I said, do you know how many people buried here in this cemetery. And that woman said, yeah. I said, we work here. I said, yeah. I said, well, how many do you think was buried here? She said, between 400 and 500,000.
From many different wars, mostly World War II, correct?
No, it started back in Civil War.
Yeah.
See, our cemetery, that was a southern people, soldiers. Then later on, the whole United States, northern and southern too.
Did you go to the World War II memorial as well?
Yeah.
Tell me about that. What?
Well, we just went down past it, and the wall there, you know, everybody's name is in there, and some of the people, there's 85 of us went, and some of them was going down there and looking for some of them found their relatives, stuff.
Did you find some of your names from some of your?
No.
No.
But see, my brother got killed there in the Philippines too.
Okay.
Or,
Was he in the army?
yeah,
What was he, infantry?
yeah.
Okay.
24th.
Okay. So he was killed on he was killed on one of the islands there in the
Yeah, he's on Mindanao.
Are you glad that you got into the artillery instead of infantry?
Oh, yes.
Not that it was safer, but was it better for you?
Yeah, a lot better.
What did you like the most about it?
Well, just, we didn't have to, well, I don't know, I just liked it a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
Because the infantry was up in front
Yeah.
with all the we got shed off there once there, and one of them Filipinos, I said, "Boy, I'd like to have one of them carbines that Japs got." And he said, "I'll get you one, Joe. I'll get you one, Joe." And we was pinned down there for a good while. Bullets was flying everywhere, and every one of them Filipinos was out through there and down there he went. And there we grabbed up my carbine, Jeff's carbine, come up. "Here you are, Joe. Here you are, Joe." He went out there right and shooting all around. I brought that gun home with me. Gary got it out in his locker.
That's a great memento.
Yeah, that's worth a lot of money now.
Yeah. Have you ever been to the military museum in Vincennes?
And what?
Have you been to the military museum in Vincennes?
No.
Okay. No. You should do that.
Yeah.
It's a great
At
place.
Vincennes?
In Vincennes.
Yeah.
Really, really big. There's a lot there.
Yeah. See, there's a lot of veterans buried overseas.
Mm-hmm.
There in the Philippines, that's a big place. A lot of when the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor, that was a terrible death march. Two of my neighbors there was in that. One of them made it all the way through, and the other didn't.
Mm. Did you enlist before or after Pearl Harbor?
After, way after.
Way after?
Yeah, it was in 41.
Okay.
They bombed Pearl Harbor, and I didn't go in until 43.
Okay. Then you came home to Perry County.
Yeah.
And do you get together with other veterans? Is there opportunities for you to meet with other guys like you?
We stopped at a honky tonk or somewhere, and paratroopers. After we got home, we got up St. Croix, went in the tavern there, and there said, fellow I knowed for a long time, a fellow named Clayton Rhodes. And I was telling him about in New Guinea, and seen all them paratroopers jumping out over there. Some of them get hung up in trees, some of them the natives in there. And they'd run out and grab them parachute and take off out in the jungle with them. And when he was talking away, he said, I was one of them. But I didn't know it then. That was in Boona Bay, New Guinea. We was in maybe 2 blocks of each other, but I didn't know it. He didn't know it.
And then you come home and then you find out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you like to do the honor flight again?
Yeah, I sure would. Yeah. But one time, I figured go.
What do you want to accomplish with the rest of your life?
What
I mean, you're still young. You're just 100.
I know it.
Do you still farm? Do you still?
No, I don't do anything.
Okay.
I go fishing once in a while.
Okay.
I don't have no fishing poles enough. Just got about 30.
That's plenty. What do you fish for? Catfish, bass,
Panfish.
panfish? Okay.
Yeah.
What is something you hope the new generation of people remember about World War II? Because I'm afraid a lot of World War II is being forgotten as time passes.
Yeah.
What do you hope that young people today will remember and know about World War II?
They can't believe it.
Hmm.
And I know I worked for the Forest Service, so I retired from there, and had your clubs come in, had the youth club and different one, and they'd come in out there, and we'd summer months I was around recreation, around the campground, and they had a crew out there. And I'd tell them how I started out making 75 cents a day, and oh, you didn't do that, one of the girls said. Exactly, I was telling her how I growed up, you know. And she said, you know what's wrong with you? I said, no. He said, you're too old-fashioned. Yeah.
They don't know what you know. They haven't experienced half of what you have experienced.
No, now 19, I can remember 28 on up, and I know how people lived.
Mm-hmm.
The people across the creek didn't have no, they'd come over back then, they didn't have the gas stoves and they had all old wooden cook stoves.
Mm-hmm.
And they'd run out far, and they'd come over home and with a bucket, get a bucket of coals, go over to start a fire. And in the wintertime, sometimes they'd go out on them, they didn't have no money to buy matches with.
Mm-hmm.
And people, all of them, everybody back then, you were your neighbors. Neighbors help neighbors. But now, the farmers, all one group, they do all the work themselves and don't associate with your neighbors at all. It changed.
Yeah. You lived at a time when there was the Great War, World War II.
Yeah.
Do you see that ever happening again? Does that concern you
Not
that
like
it could
that.
ever happen again?
Not like that, no. It would be all nuclear bombs and stuff. It'd be a lot worse. Now, they bought them in the Philippines. We had to take pills, what they call Adderberry pills. It was a
Adberry?
Adberry, yeah. Big old yellow pills, about big as, oh, it was bigger than a dime, thick. And when I come back, they was yellow. And when I come back, I was a yellow man. I wasn't white.
It changed the color of your skin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it went through your body. And your skin was yellow.
What was your favorite K ration meal? What was your favorite K ration meal?
Well,
None of them, probably, right?
well, just for breakfast, there's the scrambled eggs and a little square piece of jelly and 3 or 4 little crackers and something else there. I don't know what it was now. Dinner, it was maybe dehydrated pork or beef or something. And it's about the same thing for supper. But anyway, I weighed about, when I got to the Philippines, I weighed 198. And the time we got through the Philippines, I weighed 140.
Wow.
I lost about. And time I got back home and got eating some good food and stuff, 56, I weighed 198.
Back up again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And 3 of us, our name was Jess Belcher and Wally Belcher. We all got on the scale, old platform scale. All 3 of us weighed 198.
Wow. Is there anything that you'd like people today to know about what you went through or what other veterans went through from World War II?
I don't know what to tell them. Hey,
Maybe just that we don't forget what happened.
a lot of things I'd like to forget.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Now, when we broke up, their division broke up to come home, that was hard to do because everybody was brothers, close together. Yeah, we all went through the same thing. Very hard to split up.
You went through some really, really hard times with these guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The old McMurtry, the old Jep come in. There, a fellow named McMurtry, that was his schedule to guard him. And they had a little old pen made there out of wire, maybe 8 by 10, 8 by 8, something like that. Cage putty man. Old McMurtry that was his job that night to go out and sit and guard him. And just a dark boom, boom. I said, I'll bet you old Mac shot him. And there old McMurphy come in. I said, what did you do, shoot him? He said, yeah. I said, he opened the gate and took down the road. I had to shoot him.
Yeah. What are some other memories? I guess good or bad.
Oh, we got more time. The old whistle blowed. It was 3 months before Christmas. And the old first sergeant, he said, everybody write a letter back home, see what you want for Christmas. So that wasn't McMurtry, it was Old Beans, we called him. And he wrote home, said, oh, I want for Christmas is some more ties like you sent me last year for Christmas. And Mom, she wrote back and said, I know where you're at. See, when I first got to New Guinea, all our vehicles had a insignia of our outfit on the grill. And I had an old box camera. I took a picture of my truck, our weapons carrier, and took it down to there, Vernonia. Went ahead down, took it down to airport there and had it developed. And I set them on that picture. And she got the Life magazine in New York, and she seen where the Army had made a landing in, I forget how what all it was. She, I know where you're at. And old Beans' mother got a box of ties, big ties in there. All we had was two old pig shirts and nurses. All we had. We didn't have no ties over there. Didn't need them.
What good did a tie do you?
Huh?
What good would a tie do you?
It was nothing. You just had to throw them away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, several things that way happened. You remember?
Did you ever have a really good night's sleep?
Huh?
Did you ever have a really good night's sleep?
No.
Never, probably.
No, not very. It was very few. Most time I was laying out here on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And we went into typhoon season in Mindanao. And that was rain every day for a while. And a lot of times you'd be so tired, you'd lay down and fill an old tarpaulin, or pup tent you call it. Mm-hmm. Throw it down on the ground and lay down on it. And we were old Beans to call him. We put her, it took two to make a pup tent. You buck them together. And we go up in the night. I thought, oh, I'm warm. Feel warm. We was laying in a puddle of water.
So it's probably always wet or always hot.
Yeah, most of the time. Well, for about last 3 or 4 months, it's pretty dry up in Mindanao. And one night there, oh, it was raining bad, and Japs was cutting the wires. And I had to pull off and go help Beans with the wire, and we had to go up the road a piece, and a big old tree there had limbs on it. We took a pole, had a long pole, strung that wire up over, way up in that tree, and then across the road. Jeffs could sleep in at night and cut our wire too. And we went up there and tied her in good, and down the tree. He went down first. He got down a little ways, and I heard, ooh, he went. I thought, he sailed out of there. And here I come down and help Beans up, straighten him up. He's still gabbing for breath. And I said, what happened? He said, I stepped down on that big limb, said I saw on the ground, said I stepped off that limb.
Long way down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that was kind of hard.
Is there anything else that you'd like to add?
Well,
You want people to know?
I don't know.
Well, we definitely should respect what you've done, and whatever any veteran from any war has done. That is hard to think about what you sacrifice
Yeah.
for America, because you did it for freedom.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to go through it again.
No.
And, I can see why a lot of those come back and turn out to be drunks and alcoholics. And now it took me, I guess, 15, 20 years to get myself back normal. I wasn't satisfied. I thought about the family, but I wasn't satisfied. I wanted to be gone. I wanted to be in the crowd. Like, the Army. I was with a lot of people there. And I couldn't settle down by myself. I'd have an excuse to come in and eat, and I'd have an excuse to go down to my neighbors or over St. Croix and drink a beer and back home. It's hard to settle down.
But you did, because you had, 6 kids?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I went through several close calls. Yeah, I had one of the Filipinos went and got me a long rifle, Jap long rifle.
Okay.
So I had 2. And the carbine would fit my double bag, and my rifle, the barrel stick up about that much higher. One of the Jap rifles, it was about like an M1. And my buddy, he loaded up, come home, and he said, let me have one of them guns. I said, no, I'm going to take them home with me. I want them. He kept after me, kept me. I'll buy one of them from you. Kept on. I'll give you $100 for one of them. And he kept on. I said, well, then you're my buddy. I'll let you have it. So he got a rifle too.
He got the long rifle?
Yeah. And he gave me $100.
Good deal.
Yeah. I had allotment made out. Now I got $5 a month, and since the other, I got $54 a month, and all that money he put it in the bank for me. When I got home, I had enough to buy that a farm over there, 168 acres, $3,000. That's how I got the place.
Yeah.
And my brother, he had 3,000. And I had 2,000 saved up. And what I'd saved by 5220, going to, I went to farm school for 4 years there. And I paid for that. And I all went and paid my place off.
You got 168 acres for $3,000.
164 acres.
164.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Nowadays.
a barn full of hay.
And a barn full of hay. What
Yep.
a deal. Because now 1 acre is probably $5,000,
You
$6,000.
can touch it for $3,000.
Yeah.
5,000.
Things were different back then.
Oh,
Prices
yeah.
were lower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of changes in there. And the people across the creek, they had an awful hard time. People over the next, down up on the hill, they had a hard time. And the youngest boy across the creek, there was 6 of them over there all together, 3 girls, 3 boys. And the youngest boy, he was born in September 29th, 21. My brother was born the 28th of 21. He was born at 11:30 one night and signed across the creek. Hour and a half, he was born a day later. They always run together.
Yeah.
And we went over one night. We going up to Doodle. We went over past our neighbors there, and here comes Simon over a hill with a little old tin cup, holding a piece of cornbread about that wide, about that thick. Went down to the pasture and went up to the old cow and milked him out a cup full of milk. Went over and sat down on a rock and eat cornbread and drink milk. Now that's the way they lived.
Yeah.
And one night, hunting season's coming in. You know, people catching old possum, or most of the possums. And they come over home, borrowed a pint of kerosene to go in their lantern to go out and see the open up.
Because he wanted to get a possum.
Huh?
He got a possum?
They catch a lot of them. Them old possums bring a quarter, 50 cents a hide. And that's quite a bit of money.
Yeah, right.
I've done that too. Me and my brother, we had a dog. Boy, we catch possums, skunks, and everything.
Is that where the name of Possum Junction came from? That's right by St. Croix, isn't it?
Yeah, it's down there, 62 and 145 crosses.
Right.
I don't know what that made that. See, down across the road, there's a big old schoolhouse set there. And that was Kitterman Corner. And then they opened a store up there across the road, and whoever opened it up gave it the name Possum Junction.
Mm-hmm.
Across the road to Kitterman.
You went to a one-room schoolhouse, right?
Yeah.
So were there a bunch of these schoolhouses?
Had what?
How many schoolhouses were there? Were there like just one for the township, or were there several in the township?
Scattered all over, 2 miles apart. Crawford County, Perry County, and DuBois County, around. Yeah. And a few of them, one up there, Sulphur, it's still one room too, but it's bad shape.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, one teacher.
One teacher and
Teacher.
up to 8th grade.
Yeah. $800 a year, $100 a month.
Wow.
That was big money.
What's your secret to being 100 years old?
I don't know, I guess it's good blood in me, I guess. My grandma was German, both grandma was German, grandpa was a German, and my mother's dad was Irishman. And one of the granddaughters run the family tree, the Browns, and she go back to my grandpa, Robert Brown. And I was down to Horsenauer Garage here a few years ago, and I was talking about that, and that one person said, I know him. He was born down here in Spencer County. He said, your great-grandpa's name was Brown. And he said, Robert Brown was my grandpa. They changed it from Brown to Brown, 2 letters, O-W.
So just good blood is your secret?
Well,
It's not like eating cornbread or something like that?
yeah, we was raised up on a farm. We raised Mom was always a good gardener. She had a big garden. And we would pick blackberries, she'd canned blackberries, and green beans, and make 2 great big old jars of sauerkraut, ketchup, you call it. There's all kind of relish made together. We lived off the farm. Butcher hogs, rendered all lard. Of course, that lard now kill you, and you can't use it.
You can't. Using lard, you cooked with lard a lot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was raised up on it. We did for a long time after I was married.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.